On a fateful day in 1917, the world witnessed one of the most catastrophic man-made disasters pre-nuclear age. Imagine the backdrop of the First World War, a time of global tension and uncertainty. Industrial progress was at its peak, yet the world was embroiled in conflict. Amid this chaos, a major port city on the eastern coast of Canada, Halifax, held strategic importance. Serving as a vital link between Europe and North America, Halifax was a bustling hub of activity where ships laden with soldiers, supplies, and munitions constantly plied. However, with the war came the ever-looming threat of disaster. Ships loaded to the brim with volatile cargo navigated the busy Halifax harbor daily. The harbor, a lifeline for the war effort, was also a potential tinderbox, a fact that unfortunately would soon become all too clear. The stage was set for an event so catastrophic it would forever change the course of history. On December 6, 1917, two ships, the SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship carrying high explosives, and the SS Imo, a Norwegian relief vessel, were on a collision course in the narrowest part of Halifax harbor. The Mont Blanc, heavily laden with a deadly cargo of explosives, was a ticking time bomb. The imminent collision, under normal circumstances, might have resulted in considerable damage, but with a cargo hold full of explosives, the stakes were unimaginably high. The port city of Halifax, bustling with life and activity, was blissfully unaware of the impending doom. The city, so integral to the war effort, was about to bear witness to one of the largest man-made explosions of the pre-nuclear age. As the world was at war, no one could predict the devastating event that was about to unfold. The stage was set for the Halifax explosion of 1917, a disaster that would not only change the city of Halifax, but also impact maritime regulations and safety procedures globally. This is the story of that fateful day, a day when the ordinary became extraordinary, a day when the unthinkable became reality. In the early hours of December 6, two ships, the SS Mont Blanc and the SS Imo, were on a tragic collision course. The stage was set in Halifax Harbor, a bustling maritime hub during the First World War. Ships carrying troops, supplies, and munitions streamed in and out of its gates, a testament to the city's strategic importance. But on this particular morning, two vessels were about to cross paths in a way that would forever change history. The SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship, was heavily laden with explosives bound for the battlefields of Europe. Its cargo included 2,300 tons of picric acid, 200 tons of TNT, 35 tons of high-octane gasoline, and 10 tons of gun cotton. This was a floating time bomb, waiting for an unfortunate spark to set it off. On the other side was the SS Imo, a Norwegian vessel chartered by the Belgian Relief Commission. It was leaving Halifax running late and moving at an unusually high speed. The Imo was impatient, trying to make up for lost time. The harbor was narrow and the rules of the sea dictated that vessels should pass each other on the right, just like cars on a road. But due to a series of miscommunications and unfortunate decisions, both ships found themselves on a collision course. The Mont Blanc tried to steer away, but it was too late. The Imo's bow sliced into the French ship's hull, creating a spark that ignited the catastrophic chain of events. The collision was not immediately disastrous, but it set the stage for an impending disaster of unimaginable proportions. The crew of the Mont Blanc, aware of the deadly cargo on board, panicked and frantically tried to limit the damage. But the fuse had been lit, and there was no turning back. The collision set in motion a chain of events that would result in unprecedented devastation. The stage was set for one of the most devastating man-made explosions before the advent of nuclear weapons. But that's a story for the next scene. In the aftermath of the collision, a catastrophe was brewing. Following the fateful meeting of the SS Mont Blanc and the SS Imo in the heart of Halifax Harbor, a ticking time bomb was set. The Mont Blanc, heavily laden with high explosives, was a disaster waiting to happen. When the collision occurred, barrels of benzol on the deck of the Mont Blanc were knocked loose, spilling their highly flammable contents. A spark ignited the volatile liquid, and a fire erupted. The flames licked the sky, a terrifying spectacle that drew a crowd of onlookers from the city. Unbeknownst to them, beneath the deck of the burning ship, lay a deadly cargo of explosives. The heat from the fire was creeping closer and closer to this lethal stash. The crew, aware of the impending doom, abandoned ship and fled towards the opposite shore, shouting warnings to those they passed. But their cry of, "Run for your lives, the ship is going to explode!" was lost in the confusion. At precisely 9:20, the temperature in the hold reached a critical point. The Mont Blanc erupted in a blinding flash of light. The explosion that followed was of a magnitude that the world had seldom seen. The shock wave radiated outward, flattening buildings, shattering windows, and uprooting trees. A tsunami-like wave swept through the harbor, further adding to the devastation. A cloud of smoke and debris rose high into the air, casting a dark shadow over the ruined city. Fires raged, fed by the debris and broken gas mains. The city was plunged into chaos. The devastation was beyond comprehension. In some areas, there was hardly a building left standing. The explosion was heard and felt as far as 200 kilometers away. It was a disaster of epic proportions, a catastrophe that would forever change the city of Halifax. The explosion of the SS Mont Blanc was one of the largest man-made non-nuclear explosions in history, a grim reminder of the destructive power of man's creations. In an instant, Halifax was engulfed in chaos. The city, once bustling with life, was now a scene of unimaginable destruction. The Halifax explosion of 1917 was a catastrophe that would leave a lasting mark on the city and the world. The explosion's impact was far-reaching, with immediate and dire consequences for the people of Halifax. The devastation was instant and overwhelming. As the shockwave tore through the city, buildings were flattened and fires ignited, fueled by the winter's cold and the city's wooden infrastructure. Within moments, the vibrant port city was transformed into a scene of utter destruction. The human toll was equally severe. Nearly 2,000 lives were snuffed out in an instant, their stories ending in the blink of an eye. Thousands more were injured, their bodies bearing the brutal marks of the explosion's fury. The hospitals, those that remained standing, were quickly overwhelmed, their corridors filled with the wounded and the dying. But amid the chaos, the spirit of humanity shone bright. Men and women, many injured themselves, sprang into action, pulling their neighbors from the rubble, tending to the injured and comforting the scared and the grieving. These were ordinary people, thrust into the most extraordinary of circumstances, and their bravery was nothing short of heroic. Among the many tales of heroism, one stands out. Vince Coleman, a railway dispatcher, upon realizing the imminent explosion, stayed behind to send a telegraph warning to an incoming passenger train. His message, "Hold up the train, ammunition ship afire in harbor making for Pier 6 and will explode. Guess this will be my last message, goodbye boys." His selfless act saved countless lives. The rescue efforts were arduous and heartbreaking, but the people of Halifax did not falter. They worked tirelessly, their hands raw and their bodies weary, to save as many lives as possible. And when the day turned to night and the night back into day, they continued, their determination fueled by a profound sense of community and shared humanity. In the face of tragedy, the people of Halifax showed incredible resilience and bravery. Their courage and spirit, in the most challenging of times, serve as a stark reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the power of community. It is a testament to their fortitude that Halifax stands today, a vibrant city forever marked by a tragedy, but not defined by it. In the wake of the disaster, relief efforts were quickly mobilized. As news of the explosion spread, aid poured in from across Canada and around the globe. The neighboring city of Boston, despite being nearly 600 miles away, was one of the first to respond. They sent a relief train laden with medical personnel, supplies and funds, which arrived in Halifax on the morning after the explosion. The international response was also swift and significant. The United Kingdom, still embroiled in the First World War, dispatched a ship filled with food, clothing, and medical supplies. Other nations followed suit, sending aid and resources to assist in the recovery efforts. Back in Halifax, the city was in ruins, but the spirit of its people was unbroken. They banded together, clearing the streets of debris, rebuilding homes, and caring for the injured and displaced. Rescue workers tirelessly searched through the rubble, pulling survivors from the wreckage. Hospitals overflowed with the injured, with doctors and nurses working around the clock to treat the wounded. In the months that followed, Temporary housing was set up for those who had lost their homes. Reconstruction began almost immediately, with the city determined to rise from the ashes. The disaster had brought Halifax to its knees, but it also demonstrated the resilience and tenacity of its people. One of the most notable aspects of the recovery was the outpouring of support from children. Letters and drawings from children all over the world flooded into Halifax, offering words of comfort and solidarity. These letters, many of which are preserved in the Halifax archives, are a poignant reminder of the global community's response to the disaster. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but the people of Halifax, bolstered by the aid and support from around the world, were up to the task. The city would rebuild, stronger and more resilient than before. This resilience, born out of tragedy, is a testament to the human spirit and the power of community in the face of adversity. The world rallied around Halifax, aiding in its long road to recovery. The Halifax explosion left an indelible mark on the city and the world. The aftermath of this catastrophic event was as monumental as the explosion itself. It was a scene of utter devastation, a city in ruins, its people reeling from the shock and loss. Yet, amidst the debris and desolation, the resilience of the human spirit began to shine through. The recovery process was long and arduous. Reconstruction started almost immediately, with Halifax receiving aid from countries around the globe. The city was quite literally rebuilt from the ground up. New buildings replaced the ones that had been obliterated, and slowly but surely, Halifax began to regain its former vitality. It was a testament to the city's fortitude and the tenacity of its people. However, the physical reconstruction was only part of the story. The Halifax explosion also led to critical changes in maritime safety regulations. The disaster was a harsh reminder of the potential consequences of human error, lack of communication, and inadequate safety protocols. As a result, significant steps were taken to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again. Harbor traffic regulations were tightened and new protocols for the transportation of dangerous goods were implemented. The disaster also led to advancements in disaster response and emergency management. The lessons learned from the Halifax explosion were not just local, but global, influencing maritime practices around the world. The city's recovery was not just about rebuilding structures, but also about healing the wounds of its people. The city established the Halifax Relief Commission, which provided assistance to the survivors and helped them rebuild their lives. It was an effort that lasted for several years, demonstrating the city's commitment to its people and their welfare. The legacy of the Halifax explosion is a complex tapestry of tragedy, resilience, and change. It is a narrative of a city that rose from the ashes and a world that learned crucial lessons. The Halifax explosion forever changed maritime safety and disaster response. The echoes of the explosion continue to reverberate, reminding us of the power of resilience, the importance of safety, and the enduring capacity of communities to rebuild and recover. Today we remember the Halifax explosion as a tragic event that tested the resilience of a city. Each year on December 6th, the city of Halifax pauses to remember the catastrophic event of 1917, honoring the thousands of lives lost and forever altered. A solemn service is held at the Halifax Explosion Memorial Bell Tower, where the city's heart beats in sync with the tolling bells. The explosion has left an indelible mark on Halifax's cultural fabric, shaping its identity and spirit. It's a testament to the city's resilience, its ability to rise from the ashes, rebuild, and move forward. The narrative of the Halifax explosion is deeply ingrained in the city's folklore, immortalized through literature, music, and art. This tragic event has shaped Halifax into a city that values community, unity, and resilience. The memory of the Halifax explosion serves as a reminder of our resilience in the face of adversity. While remembering the tragedy, it's essential to reflect on the lessons learned. The Halifax explosion of 1917, one of the most significant man-made explosions pre-nuclear age, served as a grim reminder of the devastating potential of human error. This catastrophe triggered a wave of changes in maritime regulations, leading to stricter safety procedures and protocols. It underscored the importance of clear communication and coordination in preventing such disasters. Moreover, The aftermath of the explosion highlighted the need for swift and organized disaster response. The local and international aid that poured into Halifax set a precedent for how communities around the world respond to crises. It emphasized the power of unity, compassion, and resilience in the face of adversity. These lessons from the Halifax explosion, while born from a tragic event, have undoubtedly shaped the way we approach maritime safety and disaster response today. May the lessons from the Halifax explosion guide us towards a safer future. In the annals of history, the Halifax explosion stands as a poignant reminder of our past. It's a chronicle of a city's resilience, a testament to human spirit, and a beacon of how we must learn from our history. The collision in Halifax Harbor, the resulting explosion, and the subsequent devastation all paint a vivid picture of an event that shook the world over a century ago. Yet the Halifax explosion's significance extends beyond the immediate catastrophe. It's a story of heroism, survival, and incredible recovery. It's a story of how a city rebuilt itself from the ashes and how the world rallied around it in its hour of need. The disaster also sparked major changes in maritime safety and regulations, transforming the world's approach to disaster, response, and prevention. As we remember this tragic event, let us honor the resilience of Halifax and the lessons it taught the world.